Good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Saundra. I hope you are having a fantastic day or had a fantastic Sunday. I know that I have, and I am ready for impact training. So as you know, I always dial in or call in, or I guess post in just a little bit early to give people the opportunity to come on in. We are live with Teaching for Impact. I am so excited about tonight's topic. And so as people are coming in, say hello so I can see your comments on the bottom. Make sure that you do that. And we're going to go start the teaching in just a few minutes. We'll start the teaching in just a few minutes, okay? So come on in, come on in. I've got my camera turned a different way tonight, and so I just want to check to see how that is. So while you're coming in, I'm going to look at my computer and see exactly what does it look like, okay? All right, so glad to have everybody with us on tonight. Let's see here. I want to see what it looks like, because if I don't like it, I'm going to turn it the other direction. All right. Hey, Lisa, welcome, welcome. Okay, I think I do like that better. I like it that way better. You can actually see it differently that way. Lisa, type me a message so I can see, or someone type me a message so I can see, make sure that I can see the messages on the, there we go. Thank you, Kimberly. Got it. All right. Now, come on in, everybody. Tonight, I am going to be teaching on 7 ways to get out of your way so that you can walk in your calling. I hope you are ready. I hope you are prepared. And I actually think I have more than 7 ways. I actually have 10, so I may not go through all 10 of them. Hi, Regina. Hi, Kimberly. Hi, Lisa. Welcome, everybody. I see there are other people that are actually, I have more people that says it's live than I actually see that are joining, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. All right, but we will get started. Give me about 30 more seconds for people to join in, and we're going to get started on tonight. I'm going to tell you, tonight is going to be a serious teaching. All of the teachings are serious, but tonight is going to be especially serious because we're going to be talking about walking in your calling. Okay. Hey, Joy, how you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. Give me about 15 more seconds. All right. Let people join in. I hope that you've had a fabulous day. I had to preach this morning at the Fountain of Raleigh Church, and we had a fabulous time. Beautiful people there. Hi, Gerda. How you doing? They gave me this beautiful plaque this morning. Oh, isn't that beautiful? For my services. I thought it was so nice. They gave me a book because they know I love to read. So they gave me a book, and it was very, very interesting because y'all know I'm getting rid of a lot of the books that I have, okay? And one of my clients told me that God can't give me more if I don't get rid of some of the stuff I already have. So as soon as I started getting rid of some stuff, what happened? God started giving me some new and great books. I'm excited about that. All right. Hi, Lalana. There's my cousin Laura. Hello. Hello, Amanda. Welcome, welcome. Everybody, let's see. Oh, it is 9:02. So let's get started. Dr. Tiffany Lopane, welcome, welcome. All right. We're going to go ahead and get started. Tonight's teaching topic is 7 ways to get out of your way so that you can walk in your calling, okay? Now, if you don't already have pencil and paper, go get it, okay? If you don't already have pencil and paper, please go get it. You're going to see me sipping on water tonight because I tell you, my throat is just really... I preached today, y'all. I tell you, I preached today. The Lord just used me, and I'm so excited always to be used by God. And then this afternoon, we had 2 initial sermons. So between preaching today and praising the Lord with the people who did their initial sermons at Solid Rock Ministry International this afternoon, I'm just so excited. All right. So, and I want to also let you know that a lot of people have been telling me they want to be a part of this Teaching for Impact, but they're not on Facebook. So I am considering actually having a dial-in number, a call-in number for this training also, because I know that people want it, and they tell me that I don't want to get on Facebook, you know, that sort of thing, but they really want to be a part of the actual live training so they can hear it live, okay? So I'm considering that. May start it like next week, or we'll see. We'll just see what happens and see how I can actually make that happen. But anyway, so now let's get started with today's lesson, okay? I am actually doing this a little bit differently because I'm actually looking at the camera, but as I'm looking at the camera, it doesn't look like I'm looking at you. So, but I am looking at the camera, all right? So now, here we go. We're going to be talking about 7 ways to get out of your way, to get out of your way so that you can walk in your calling, okay? Now, before we do that, one of the things that I want to do is I want to make sure that you understand the difference between purpose and calling, okay? There is a big difference between purpose and calling. They are not synonymous, okay? And when I talk about calling, I'm talking about calling. I am not talking about purpose. All right, so let me give you the difference in purpose and calling. And again, as I said, if you don't have pencil and paper, then make sure you go get it because you're going to need it on tonight. As you do with any teaching for impact, you're definitely going to need it on tonight. All right, so now let me give you the difference in purpose and calling. Okay, purpose is the reason a thing was created. Okay, purpose is the reason a thing was created. All right, purpose is the why. Why was this thing created? So basically, purpose tells us why we were created, all right? And the reason that we as children of God were created, if you've ever heard me teach, you know that I am a firm believer, because it's biblical, that we as children of God, we were created for a threefold purpose. You don't have to go running looking for your purpose everywhere, because your purpose was created by God, okay? Remember, your purpose comes from the one that created you, okay? Your purpose comes from the one that created you. So we were all created by God, so it's only God that can give you your purpose. And He's already given it to you, and our purpose is, write this down if you're writing, some of you may have heard this before, but our purpose is to glorify God, to witness to others, and to destroy the works of the enemy. That's it. Okay? You don't have to go running around looking for your purpose in 50 million different places, okay? Because our purpose is already given. I'm just checking out, seeing what this looks like. It's a little dark on the Facebook. I think something's wrong with my lighting in here. I gotta check out the lighting in here, but I can't do it right now. So, but it looks a little dark as I'm looking at it on Facebook over here. But anyway, so your purpose is the reason that you were created. Threefold: glorify God, witness to the lost, destroy the works of the enemy. That's it. Okay? Now, remember that your purpose is the why God created you. Okay? Got that? Calling is something totally different. Your calling is what you do and what you are gifted for to carry out that purpose. Okay? Make sure you're writing this down. All right, let me know that you guys are out there. I see there are a lot of people on in terms of the numbers. There you go. I see some lights coming on. Thank you. Okay. All right. So your purpose is why you were created, threefold. Okay. Your calling is what you do to live out that purpose. So purpose is about a why. Calling is about what a do. Okay. Calling is who you are and what you do. All right, you got that. You got to understand that, because if you don't, then me giving you these 7 reasons isn't going to help you very much. All right, so that's what calling is. And everybody, now let me make sure everybody, you understand this. Everyone has a calling. All right, don't fool yourself and saying to yourself that you don't have a calling, because God has called everyone to do something in His kingdom. Here's the thing. Your calling may not look like mine. I am called to teach God's word. That's what I'm called to do. That's where I spend my time. That's why I study so much. That's why I come on here teaching, because it's what God has called me to do. Your calling may not look like mine. Your calling may not look like someone else's. Some people are called to be pastors and prophets and teachers and evangelists and apostles, okay? But other people are called to be encouragers. Some people are called for financial reasons, to help people financially. Some people are called to help people get through certain kinds of situations in their life. But everyone has a calling, all right? That's one thing you need to understand, and that is Everyone has a calling, and your calling is directly related to the purpose. So whatever God has called you to do, it is to make sure you are living out the purpose that he created you for. Okay, so let's do it in an example. So God called me to teach. That's what he's called me for. Okay, I am a teacher. I teach God's word. All right, and God has called me for that. So when I teach, I am living out his purpose on my life. Because when I teach, I give glory to God. When God allows me to teach, I destroy the works of the enemy, because I get things out of your mind that don't have anything to do with what you should be thinking about, okay, as children of God. All right, glorifying God, destroying the works of the enemy, and then witnessing to others. Okay, those are things that I do when I teach. Now, think about what you know you've been called to do. Okay, think about what you know what you've been called to do. Okay, and ask yourself, do I know what my calling is? Now, let me ask it. I'm asking this question. And if you're on here and you know what your calling is, I want you to type in a 1. If you're on here and you don't know what your calling is, or you're a little bit unclear about what your calling is, I want you to type in a 2. So 1 if you know your call, a 2 if you don't, or if you're unsure. I won't say you don't, but you're kind of unsure. All right, let me pause for a second for y'all to do that. All right, I see some 1s. All right, great. See some 1s? Wonderful, wonderful. Great, wonderful. That's great. Wonderful. See people coming through with 1s? Love it, love it. Amen, amen. Great, great. Okay? Deborah says she's a little bit unclear. Okay? Unclear. I see some 1s and I see some 2s. Okay? Okay, that's wonderful. So thank y'all for putting the 1s and the 2s in there. And that helps me out a lot as I go through on tonight's lesson. Now, when you understand what your calling is, or even if you don't understand what your calling is, sometimes we don't walk in our calling. Okay? Even if we do or don't understand what it is, sometimes we don't actually walk out that calling on our life. We just don't do what we're supposed to do. All right? Sometimes we just don't do it. Now, I have to be very frank with you and tell you, there were times when I didn't walk out the calling on my life. All right? For several different reasons, but I just didn't do it. Many different reasons sometimes. But I just didn't do it. All right? So, what I am going to bring you tonight, I'm bringing you these reasons to get out of your own way, because I want you to get this. I don't want you to miss your call. Okay? I don't want you to miss your call. Now, I want you to think about this. Think, for example, say you were getting ready to go somewhere and your girlfriend calls you, and your girlfriend says, I'm going to call you at a specific time and I'm going to tell you where to meet me when I call. Okay? So you know the two of you are going to this place, but the two of you need to meet in order to get there. Okay? And so she's going to call you to tell you where to meet her so the two of you can go together. All right? Now, what happens if you miss the call? If you miss the call, then you're not going to know where to go because you don't have direction. You're not going to have any guidance on how to get where you and your friend are going. All right? So what I'm giving you tonight is, I don't want you to miss the call of God on your life. Okay, and there are times when there are things that we stand in our own way of missing the call. It's not that we don't know what the call is, but here's something that we talked about and we taught last week, is that if there are things in your life such that if you were to be used, if God uses you in a certain way and then you begin to damage other people, you could miss the call of God on your life. Now, one of the things that I see so much of is women actually wanting to walk in their call, wanting to do what God has called them to do, and then all of a sudden they're like, don't know if I should do this, or what are people going to say if I do this? Well, let me tell you, when God calls you for a specific calling, you must do it. All right? I don't know how to say it any plainer than that. When God calls you and gives you specific giftings, to carry out the purpose, remember the calling is the do and the be, okay? And you have to be before you do. If you missed last week, make sure you listen to last week's, because last week's Teaching for Impact was powerful because we talked about being and doing. But your calling is your be and your do, and you have to be before you can do, all right? But you can't do the purpose that God has made us for, the threefold purpose. You can't do that without walking in your call. Okay? I want to make sure you understand that. Walking in your calling will require you to be and to do, right, the purpose that God created you for. Now, again, I'm going to walk it out differently than you. I'm going to walk it out differently than the next person. You're going to walk it out differently than your next door neighbor. But the thing about it is that you all have a call and you all must operate in it. Okay? Some of your callings are to be medical doctors. There are medical doctors on here. Some of your callings are to be teachers in the school system or teachers of the word. Some of your callings are to be coaches or mentors. And keep in mind, when we talk about calling, there's calling and then there's giftings for the call. We'll do that later. We can't talk about that tonight because it's just too much to pack into one session. But there's callings and there's giftings for the call. Some of us are gifted in different ways, but we're still operating in our calling. All right? So now, what I want to do tonight is, my goal tonight, by the end of the session, is for you to have what you need to get out of your way so that you won't miss the call of God on your life and you will operate in that call. Okay? Understand what we're going to be talking about. So you won't miss the call, all right? Because if you miss the call like the girl did and she couldn't get in contact with a girlfriend, if you miss the call, then you will not know what direction you're supposed to be going in for your life. And you don't want that to happen. Because there's nothing worse. There's absolutely nothing worse than having a void in your life. You have a void in your life because you know there's something you're supposed to be doing, but you're not doing it. And most of you, when you say you're not really clear on what your calling is, sometimes we're clear, we just don't want to admit what the calling is. All right? Sometimes we know in our knower, okay? So I heard someone say that one day. We know down in our knower that we're called to do a certain thing, okay? And that's who we are, that we're called for. But fear or some other things stand in the way and we don't do it. Okay? So now, let me give you these, and actually I said 7, but I actually have more than 7. All right? So let me give you these. All right? Now, don't miss the opportunity to walk in your call because you're standing in your way. All right? Don't miss the opportunity to walk in your calling because you are standing in your way. Let me tell you a secret. God's not going to just push you into a call. He'll push you for you to look at it, but he'll push you into preparation. But walking in the call is something you've got to do. All right? God will give you opportunity. God will give you opportunities to prepare. God will give you all kinds of opportunities to get ready for the call, but to actually walk in it is something you must do. I know it's hard, ladies. I know it's hard. Some of you work full-time. Some of you you work full-time. Some of you are in full-time entrepreneurship. Some of you are full-time moms. Some of you are full-time and doing whatever you do, and you're like, I can't do anything else. Well, let me help you. You wonder why there's a void in your life. There's a void in your life because you're not operating in the calling that God said for you to be and to do. Okay? All right? So, Kimberly, thank you for scribing that, Kimberly. Don't miss the opportunity to walk in your calling because you're standing in your own way. All right? Don't miss it. All right, now, let me give you these 7 things. So, here's number 1. Number 1, you don't answer it. You don't answer the call. All right? Answering the call means that you're acknowledging what God has said for you to be and to do. Okay? Now, acknowledging it doesn't mean that you're getting ready to go do it tomorrow. Acknowledging the call on your life says, you know what, God, I am called to be a teacher. I am called to be a prophet. I am called into the ministry. I am called to be an entrepreneur. I'm called to be a nurse. I'm called to be a finance person. I'm called to be whatever it is, God, that you're calling me to glorify you, to witness to the lost, and to destroy the works of the enemy. I'm called to do this, to be and to do this so that I can live out my purpose, Okay? I'm called to do it, but sometimes, I'm sorry, here's somebody walking up the steps. Shut the door for me, baby. Thank you. Oh, okay. I guess I'm talking too loud. I'm waking everybody up, y'all. All right? So, sometimes we just don't answer the call. And when I say we don't answer the call, what I mean there is that we don't acknowledge that where we are is not where God wants us to be. We know it down. We can feel it in our heart. We know there's something missing. We know that we should be doing more. We know that I'm not fulfilled where I am. I'm not fulfilled doing what I'm doing. But in order to step out and do something different, you've got to acknowledge the call on your life. Some of you are called to be entrepreneurs, but you're afraid to step out and leave your job. I'm not telling anybody to leave their job. I'm not telling anybody to do that. Because when God said, when I left mine, believe me, God and I worked through a plan such that I would step right into something else. All right. So my family didn't miss a beat. All right. So, but first of all, you've got to acknowledge that there's a call on your life. All right. Again, I'm just looking over here. I don't like that lighting I'm seeing on Facebook, but I can't do anything about it right now. All right. I should have had someone come in here and check the lighting beforehand. All right. So first, you've got to acknowledge the call. All right. Everybody got that? Acknowledge the call. Or you don't answer. When you don't answer the call, you don't acknowledge the call on your life, then, you know, what do you expect God to do? God is positioned you. He's given you opportunity. He's put you in places. He's given you different things to actually operate and walk in the call, but you still won't acknowledge or answer the call. Okay? All right? And can you answer the call just a little bit by a little bit? Can you dilly-dally? Can you step in or step out? You're either going to say, yes, God, I'm going to do it, or you're going to don't do it. And if you don't do it, you're saying no. All right? So that's number one. Acknowledge the call. Number two. Number two is a hard one. Number two is a hard one. And I'm going to tell you why number two is a hard one. Because number two kind of makes you look back at the past and get rid of some things in your past. Okay? Number two, the thing that you need to do to get out of your own way is you've got to forgive some people in your past. All right? You, in order to walk thoroughly in the call, because how can God use you if you have not forgiven some people in the past? Some of you, and I know I've had to deal with this big time. I've had to deal with this big time. There were people in my life that I didn't even realize I needed to forgive because of some things that they did to me a long time ago. And I kind of realized it as I began just studying and doing some other things that I was doing. I kind of realized, oh my goodness, I really haven't forgiven them. And so I had to go through the process of forgiveness. See, you're in your own way from walking out your call when you don't forgive others. When you haven't forgiven others for some things that they may have done to you, whether it was yesterday or whether it was months and weeks ago, doesn't matter when it was. If you have not forgiven them, then you're stopping yourself from walking out the call of God on your life. I don't know how to put it any plainer than that. All right? I know that one's a hard one. I know some of you are saying, oh, Dr. Saundra, you don't know what he did to me, or you don't know what she did to me, or you don't know what he said or she said. You know what? But I had some of you in some previous Teaching for Impacts, you heard me talk about a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago actually, being persecuted and what somebody did to me. And I will tell you, I had to forgive that person. If I did not forgive that person, then I could not walk in the calling that God has had in my life. I cannot operate at the level of anointing that God has for me if I don't forgive. The same thing with you. If you harbor unforgiveness, it doesn't matter what they did. I know some of you may have been molested. Some of you may have even been raped. Some of you have maybe even been beaten. Some of you have maybe been in situations where your husband walked out on you. But let me tell you, you've got to forgive. Because in order for you to operate fully in your calling, you've got to forgive those people who persecuted you in the past. Just like Christ, just like God forgave us, we've got to forgive everybody else. I know it's hard. I know it takes time, but you can do it. I know it's hard. I know it takes time. Okay? Danielle says, I wasn't expecting forgiveness to be on your list. Good point. Oh, yeah. Forgiveness is at the top of the list. Forgiveness is at the top of the list. Because when you walk in unforgiveness, you open the door for the enemy to do all kinds of things to you, to your heart, to your mind. And when you open the door for the enemy to do all kinds of things to your heart and your mind, you can't walk in your calling. You can't do it. You can't do it. You might think you're doing it. You might think you're doing it. Remember, when you're walking in your calling, there are going to be outcomes. There are going to be transformation. All right? So look, ask yourself, when I'm walking in what I think is my calling, are there outcomes? What are the transformations of others? What's happening to other people as I walk out what God has called me to do? When you have unforgiveness in your heart, you leave open a humongous door. A humongous door for the enemy to come in and try to not allow you to walk fully in your call. All right? Yes, you have to forgive, and it is hard. And Deborah says, when I think I have forgiven, then it comes back again and again. It does, but that's why you have to forgive again and again. Forgive again and again. I think the Bible says we have to forgive, what, 70 times 7? I think that's the scripture. I want to say it's in Matthew. I'm not real sure where it is. But I remember my auntie, Evangelist Lydia Jones, preaching about that one time, that we have to forgive over and over and over again until our heart changes towards that person. See, forgiving is, I can't get into a teaching on forgiving, but let me just say this, that forgiving is all about a change in your heart. Because you can't change the person. You have to change what's in your heart. And if you have to forgive over and over, even when it comes back up again and again and again, then yes, you got to forgive again and again and again. You got to keep asking God to change my heart about that particular person. All right? That's number 2. Number 1, you've got to answer the call. Number 2, you've got to forgive. Number 3, all right? This is a way that we stand in our own way. Number 3 is that we say yes too much. When you say yes too much to things that you don't need to say yes to, all right, then you are standing in the way of walking out your calling. Okay? Let me let that one sit in just a minute. Okay? Yes, Arlinda, going back to forgiveness. Forgive even if you don't receive an apology. Forgiveness is not about you receiving an apology. Okay? Let me go back to that real quick. Thank you. Forgiveness is not about you receiving an apology because you probably won't get it. Okay? Thank you, Kimberly. We say yes way too much. That's number 3. All right? When you say yes too much, and when I say yes, when you say yes to the wrong things, okay? When you say yes to the wrong things, what you do is you now have taken up some space of time where you need to be walking out your calling and doing things with that pertain to what you're called to do. You can't do things with what you were called to do. You can't actually do those things if your time and your energy, okay? If your time and your energy are being used up to things that you shouldn't have said yes to that have nothing to do with your call. Okay? We say yes way too much. We say yes way too much. All right? Let me say that one more time. Okay? We say yes way too much. All right? So, look at what you're saying yes to. Let me give you a little strategy. People will ask me to do things. Like, for example, this just happened. Just happened before I was logged on, okay, tonight. A friend of mine, she's getting ready to go in to have surgery. And she's going to be bedridden for 2 weeks. And so her husband sends out a text. And this has nothing to do with calling, but I want you to get this about saying yes, okay? Her husband sends out a text, and her husband sends me the text, and he says that his wife is getting ready to go have surgery. She's going to be bedridden for a couple of weeks. Would the crew, and you know the crew is a certain group of people, would the crew help in getting food over to the family? All right? Now, I didn't have to say yes to that, all right? But I did, all right? I did because I know that one thing that I know I need to do is to help a friend. Okay? That is something you say yes to. That's something you say yes to. Yes, I'll take over dinner. Okay? Yes, I'll do it. I'll kind of organize the group or send out a group text. It doesn't take much for me to do that on text messages. I can do my text messages from my computer. Okay? It doesn't take a lot to do that. Because when you have a friend in need, you need to help that friend. Okay, you need to help that friend. But here's the difference. Sometimes you will say yes, and when you say yes, and then it puts you into frustration because you just said yes, then maybe you shouldn't have said yes to begin with. It doesn't faze me a bit to go and to get dinner, take it over there, all right, for a couple of nights. It doesn't hurt me to be able to send a text message out so that other ladies can do the same thing, all right? That is a yes, all right? Now, some of you say yes to things that you just don't want to do. And you know, it never ceased to amaze me. I do not, checking the time, I do not understand why people say yes to things that they don't want to do. I just do not understand it. If you don't want to do something, why do you say yes to it? I'm just curious. You don't have to answer, but I need you to think about it. If you don't want to do something, or if you know that thing is not really something that you need to be doing, or it's going to put a burden on you, why do you say yes to it? All right? When I said yes to her husband because they need it, didn't put any burden on me at all. It gives me joy to be able to help my friend. Okay? Now, but some of you will say yes in one breath and then start talking about him in the next. Come on. You're standing in your own way of walking in your calling. Even when you do that, you're standing in the way of walking in the calling when you say yes to some stuff that's taking up space, when you need to use that time and that energy to be studying for your calling, to be going to a class on your calling, to be getting some coaching on your calling or some mentoring. Okay? You've got to get out of your own way, and sometimes you just say yes too much. Stop saying yes to things that you don't need to say yes to. All right? Danielle writes, sometimes we say yes to the wrong things. Think before you respond and say yes. Exactly. You have to look at the big picture. All right? Someone wanted me to do something recently, and if I would have said yes, it would have put me in some hardship, I guess, and trying to find someone else to go pick my son up from what he has to do at school during the summer. So I said no. All right? It wasn't that I couldn't do it. It wasn't that I didn't necessarily want to do it, but it would put me in a hardship because I have to be at the school to get him at a certain time for basketball, and I can't do that if I'm doing something for somebody else at that time, at that particular time. Someone asked me to do something about helping them to write a book. That's not my call. My call is to keep you moving forward towards your vision. That's something that God has called me to do. It's something that I do as a component of my business. But to actually sit down and help you pen and write, that's not my call. There are other people who have that calling and they do it well. So when you see women that are in the Vision Building Institute and they have written books, okay, Saundra didn't help them write. I didn't sit there and help them pen that book. They wrote that book on their own. All right? Because I know what my lane is. I know what I need to say yes to. Okay? I had someone call me that wanted them to help start a nonprofit, and they were going to pay me. But I can't say yes to that because that would take up too much time and I can't do that. All right? So make sure that you just analyze what it is that you are saying, what you're being asked, and say yes to the things that you need to say yes to. All right? Now, the next one. We had answer the call. We have forgiving. We said say yes. All right? And the next one goes with the third one. Number 4 is that you refuse to say no. You saying yes too much is one thing, but refusing to say no is something different. All right? When you refuse to say no, then again, you put yourself in a position. You did that. You did that. Don't blame the other person. Don't blame the other person because you didn't say no. Don't get mad at the other person because you can't go to a class that has to do with what God has called you to do because you didn't say no. Don't get upset at somebody else because you're looking at them and you're doing work for them and you're using up your time. At you. You stood in that. You stood in your own way. You were the one that didn't say no. All right? Sometimes we stand in our own way from walking in our calling because we just refuse to say no. All right? I say this a lot, that no is a complete sentence. I don't need to explain to you why I'm saying no. I don't need to do that. Someone asked me something today at church when I got back to my church. I had to preach this morning, as I told you, at the Fountain. Great people. I just love the Fountain. Great people, the Fountain of Raleigh. Shout out to them right now. And my friend Dr. Christine Grant goes there. And so when I got back to my church, someone asked me to do something. And he said, Dr. Williams, can you do this? And I said, no. I wasn't going to do it. No, I wasn't going to do it. All right. And he sort of looked at me like, and then I realized, you know what? I'm not going to do it, but let me tell you what you can do if you're going to go do it. And he did. He went and did what he wanted me to do. But my thing is, like, you asking me to do something and you can do it. Some of you don't say no because okay, hold on now. Don't get mad with me, okay? Let me say this up front. Don't get mad with me. Some of you are not saying no because you think nobody can do it but you. You think that if you're, and let me give you a little secret here, okay? People will pimp God's name. All right? People, and make sure somebody write that in the comments. People will pimp God's name. Because here's what they'll say to you. The Lord told me that you were supposed to do such and such. The Lord told me that you were supposed to help with this committee. The Lord told me that you know what? Don't tell me what the Lord told you. What you need to do is pray that the Lord tells me. Because until God tells me, don't pimp the Lord's name to me. Okay? Don't pimp God's name and try to use God's name thinking that I'm going to say yes just because you use the Lord's name. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay? Because my thing is that if God told you that I'm to do that, then he's already put it in my spirit. He's already put it inside of me that that's something that I'm supposed to do. So don't try to make me feel guilty for saying no, because you're trying to use the Lord's name around me. Yes, I'm a holy woman of God, but just because you said that the Lord said. There are some things that people will tell me that God said for me to do, and as soon as they say it, it just resonates with my spirit, because the Lord had already been dealing with me about something similar. I didn't know what the opportunity was going to be, but the Lord was dealing with me with something similar. Okay? So that's how God works, all right? When there's something on the inside of you that you're supposed to be doing, you know it as soon as that opportunity arises. You know it. And when you kind of are wondering and kind of iffy about it, just say no. And here it is. For those of you that aren't comfortable saying no, then just say not right now. If you're uncomfortable, because everybody's not comfortable saying no, then just say not right now. Okay? You hold yourself back from walking in your calling when you can't say no. All right? When you don't say no, or you can't say no, then you hold yourself back from walking in your calling. Get out of your way, say no. The next one, all right, is procrastination. I think we're on number 5. I've got 5 on my list here, all right? Number 5, procrastination. You cannot, let me tell you, you cannot, you will not walk in your call if you continue to procrastinate and say, I'll study tomorrow. I'll call that coach tomorrow. I'll try. Someone kept telling me, I'm going to get in the inner circle. I'm going to get in the inner circle. And they kept procrastinating about it. And then they called me and wanted to get in the inner circle. But you know what? It was closed. It was closed. Once I closed it, I'm not exactly sure what they thought I meant when I said it was going to close on a certain day, but it closed. It's open for a certain period, and then it closes. Because there's work that has to be done in order to get everybody into the inner circle, get everybody in the group. There's work to be done. So you have to close it at a certain point. All right? But when you procrastinate and you don't do the kinds of things that you need to be doing to operate in your call, then you're standing in your own way. Some of you need some classes. Some of you need to get connected with a mentor. Some of you procrastinate about calling a mentor, somebody that you would really like to talk to or like to pour into your life. Some of you don't do that. Stop procrastinating. Do it. Do it. Do it today. Do it tonight. You can do an email tonight. You don't wake people up just because you send them an email. They may not see it in the morning, but do it. Stop procrastinating. When you procrastinate, you're in your own way, and your calling is suffering. The people that you are called to are suffering. They are waiting on you to walk in your call, but you keep procrastinating, putting other things in front of the work that you need to do to operate in your call. Stop doing it. Stop procrastinating and do what God has called you to do. Some of you need to read a book, and I'll read the book tomorrow. Some of you just need to maybe get together in a different kind of grouping. Some of you need to look up some stuff on YouTube, and you keep saying you're going to do it tomorrow. Stop procrastinating. Procrastination means that you're doing it. No one else is procrastinating. Okay? No one else is making you procrastinate. You're doing that. You're in your own way. You're in your way when it comes to procrastination. See, the things that I'm giving you, I'm sure you thought I was going to talk about something else, but everything I'm giving you are things that we do ourselves. Because who is in our way from walking in our call? Normally, we are. We are usually the ones in our way, and we are usually the ones that are keeping ourselves from walking in our call. And like we said, number 1 was answering the call. Number 2 was forgiving someone. Number 3 is that you say yes too much. Number 4 is you refuse to say no. Number 5 is you procrastinated. Number 6, I want you to write this down exactly as I say it. Okay? Number 6, you decided to stay comfortable. All right? You decided to stay comfortable. Let me say that one more time. You decided to stay comfortable. Okay? Danielle, I see you talking to yourself. I love it. All right? Staying comfortable is a decision. Let me let that sink in a little bit. Staying comfortable is a decision. Let me let that sink in one more time. Staying comfortable is a decision. Because see, you can decide that I'm going to step out and do even if I'm uncomfortable. You can decide that I'm going to step out and do what God has called me to do, even if I don't know everything. Like Joyce Meyer says sometimes, do it afraid. You can step out to do that, but let me tell you something. The decision is yours. No one else can decide for you to stay comfortable. No one else can make that decision but you. So when you decide to stay where you are, you've made that decision. You stepped in your own way, or you won't get out of your own way. Because when you decide that you're going to do something different, you're going to decide that even though it's uncomfortable and I don't understand everything, I'm still going to step out there and do it. That's a different kind of decision than you deciding to stay in your own way and stay where you are. Some of you want to do so much. I know how it is. Believe me, I've been there, done that. Been there, done that. Sometimes still have to struggle with it. Still struggle with it. I can't even teach you if I don't struggle with some things. All right? So, but you decided to stay comfortable. You decided not to take that class. Okay? Don't put it on the fact that you say, well, the money's not there. Did you look for the money? All right? I've got, like I said, I'm not getting that TV downstairs. I know that's kind of trifling because it's a TV. Okay? But I'm not getting that TV downstairs until I sell everything in this house that needs to be sold. Because as my Dr. Tiffany, one of my clients, says, that when I get rid of this stuff, God is going to give me more. All right? What do we say in the Vision Building Institute? When you move, God will position you for more. When you move, God will position you for more. Okay? When you decide to stay comfortable, you're making that decision. You cannot operate in your call in a comfortable place. Let me say that again. You cannot operate in your calling in a comfortable place. You have to decide that you are going to be okay with being uncomfortable. So if you're deciding that you don't want to be uncomfortable, you don't want to go the extra mile, you don't want to have to deal with all these things that you have to deal with, you're the one making that decision. You're the one, again, standing in your own way. Don't get mad at other people. Just get out of your own way and get uncomfortable. Okay? Let's go to the next one. All right? The next one is You thought, well, that was number 6, I think. I think I will just do 7 tonight because my my throat's getting a little sore, so I need to do 7 and then call it, okay? So let's look at I think this is the last one. Number 1 was answer the call. Number 2 was forgiving. Number 3 was you said yes too much. Number 4, you refused to say no. Number 5 is procrastination. Number 6 is you decided to stay comfortable. And number 7 is you thought you could do it alone. You thought you could do it alone. Nothing will destroy you more than getting in your own way by thinking you can do it by yourself. All right? Nothing will destroy you more. Nothing. Because I will tell you, that is what almost destroyed me in ministry. That I thought I could do it all by myself. All right? Then what happened? I got burned out. I got tired. I didn't want to do it anymore. All right? When you think you can do it all by yourself, then you are fooling yourself and you're standing in your own way. All right? Something as simple as I told you that my friend's husband sent me a text. He know he can't do it all by himself. They have 3 children. All right? They have 3 kids. And my friend does a lot in her house. And when she's not in the picture, he knew he needed some help. So he reached out. Some of you won't reach out for help. Some of you know there's stuff that you don't know. You know there's stuff that you don't have up here. Okay? But when you operate from a place and you think you can do everything by yourself, you're standing in your own way. You can't do everything by yourself. You can't. You can't learn by yourself. You need a teacher. Okay? You can't build a business by yourself. You need help. You need clerical help. You need different kinds of administrative help. You need coaching. You need teaching. You need different things to build what it is that you're trying to do. Some of you can't walk in your calling because you think you know everything. You think you know everything, or you think that God is going to just drop it down. Well, let me tell you something. For some of you, God's already dropped down who you need to talk to, but you think you don't need him. You think you can do this thing by yourself. All right? You are standing in your own way. If you think you don't have to ask for help. Yes, Danielle says it's okay to ask for help and it's okay to ask questions. Yes, that is so true. That is so very true. You have no idea how many questions I ask. I used to be kind of scared to ask questions, I have to admit that, because I didn't want people thinking that I was stupid. But you know what? It's better for me to ask a question than to do something that I shouldn't do because I just didn't know any better. Or I was scared to ask a question. All right? Sonia says, you're so authentic. Thank you, Jesus. You know, Sonia, it's interesting because when the lady, Dr. Grant, introduced me today, she introduced me by the acronym of my name, Saundra, and the A was authentic because I am who I am wherever I am. I don't have time to be somebody else for other people. All right? I am learning in my company now to ask for help. All right. Now, when you ask for help, you might have to pay some people. I'm telling you, because there's certain people I ask for help that I ask for because I'm gonna pay you because I don't want any mess. I don't want any mess. Okay. And you'll receive if you ask, but you've also got to invest in yourself. Some of you really, really need to do some investing in yourself. Otherwise, I want you to look at where you are tonight. What is today? Today's June 11th. Okay, look at where you are today, then look 365 days down the road. If you haven't asked for help, if you haven't reached out, if you haven't done something different than what you're doing now, I'm going to tell you, like my mama used to tell me, you're going to be in the same place this time next year. And you're going to be looking at your friends, who this is what my mama used to tell me, you're going to be looking at your friends and they're going to be going on, and then you're going to get mad because you couldn't go with them. That's because you were standing in your own way. Okay, Amanda says, I'm learning that. I will let people know now that I don't know and I want to know. Yes, there's nothing wrong with wanting to know things. All right, as I told some of you, as I told this group, I was just named the Director of Administration, or the State Director of Administration for North Carolina Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship. And there's a young lady who has been invaluable to me. And I know I ask her sometimes the same question over and over. But you know what? It's great because she's so patient and she's so kind. And something as simple as a post office box, I bet you I asked the same question 3 times. And when we did it, I was like, wow, look, I learned so much in sitting with her. But I had to reach out. I had to know what I don't know. And sometimes you don't know that you need help. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Okay? Danielle says, invest in yourself. Stop expecting everything to be free. That's right. Because I will tell you, sometimes if things are free, I begin to wonder about them. You guys are on Impact. You guys are on Teaching for Impact. And so you get a lot. All right? The people in the inner circle get more because they get to talk to me one-on-one. Or not one-on-one, they're in a group. I'm getting ready to change how the inner circle works, because of just the way that I have to do that, because I'm finding that being able to talk to people once there's a lot of people in there, the way it works now is not going to work. So I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to announce that with the next inner circle when I open up the inner circle in later on this month. Okay, so those of you that are thinking about being in the inner circle, you better go ahead and begin to look at it and think about it, because it's going to open one day and it's going to close another day. All right, because it fills up just that fast. All right. Now, again, I wanted tonight because I just felt in my heart, and I hear the Lord just leading me to tell you all, get out of your own way. There are people tied up inside your belly that are waiting for you. There are people out there that want what you have. There are people out there that want to hear your story. There are people out there that you could be helping, but you don't because you're standing in your own way. Some of you won't answer the call. Some of you won't forgive. Some of you are saying, well, you know what, Saundra, I heard what you said, but I have to say yes. No, you don't. Dr. Saundra, I heard what you said, but I can't say no. If you can't say no, then just say not right now. Okay? Some of you are procrastinating, and you've been procrastinating for so long that procrastination has become a part of you. Come on, y'all. All right, I am a teacher. My calling is to teach, and I am teaching you this tonight because I want you to get out of your own way so that you can walk in your calling, so that you can over and over and over and over again do the purpose that God created you for by the way that He wants you to do it. Some of you are created to live out His purpose by teaching, like me. Some of you are created to live out His purpose as an entrepreneur. Some of you are created to live out God's purpose for your life as a mentor, as a finance person, as a doctor, as a lawyer, as a minister, as a welder. I don't know what your calling is, but you're called to do it. Get out of your own way so that you can do it. Oh, my God, my God. I just feel that so much. I feel that so heavy on me tonight, that some of you are just standing in your own way. And what I want to do, I have about 2 more minutes, maybe 7 more minutes, and then we're going to call it. I can't believe we're going to get done by 10. Y'all think we're going to get done by 10? I don't know. All right, because my throat is truly hurting. I've got to rest my voice. All right, so one of the things that I just think is so important, y'all, just so important, is these 7 things that we talked about tonight. And I've got more on the list, but I think I'm just going to hold to those 7 because I said 7 in the title. Okay. If you all just get out of your own way, if you answer the call, if you acknowledge that you answer the call, if you forgive who you need to forgive, and I know that's hard, but if you do it, if you stop saying yes, if you start saying no, if you stop procrastinating, if you stop making the decision to stay comfortable, and then finally, if you stop trying to do it alone. Those are just a few things that you can do to get out of your own way. Those are just a few things that you can do to begin to walk in your calling. Just a few. There are so many other things that you could do. But I'm going to hold to these right here because I don't want you to miss your call. This is enough. If this helped you tonight, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. If this was helpful to you, okay? Because sometimes we don't think about these kinds of things when we talk about walking in our calling. We don't think about us. We don't think about we're the problem. We don't think about that if I stop doing some things, then I can walk and do what God has called me to do. We always put it off on somebody else. Well, let me tell you, we are in our own way. We're in our own way. Ladies, get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. All right? Be bold. Be fearless. Do what you need to do to walk out the call that God has on your life. All right? Now, thank you so much for the ones. Thank you so much for the ones. I do want to tell you that as we open the inner circle up again, gonna be the last time I opened the inner circle up, we focused on more on vision and that sort of thing. We're gonna back up a little bit. We're gonna be focusing on calling and what God has called you to do. And the inner circle is going to be on cultivating what God has called you to do. Some of you, God has called to do certain things in your home, and you haven't done it. Some of you, God has called you to do certain things in your business, and you haven't done it. One of the ladies in the inner circle, she, I think she's on here tonight, and you can go back and you can read it. It's in the inner circle. It's in the Vision Building Women group. She actually put it on her personal page, but I shared it into the group because she talked about a transformation. It was Lisa White Johnson. She talked about a transformation that had happened on the inside of her, and now she's doing things differently. Some of you have told me that. Some of you have put it in the group. All right? Some in the inner circle, people are being transformed. They're doing what God has called them to do. I believe in this season that it's my call, part of what I do in terms of my purpose that God created me for. I believe in this season I need to truly help women cultivate the call that God has for their life. And so that's what the inner circle is going to be the next time. Watch out for it. Watch for the link. It won't be tonight, okay? Because actually I'm going to bed tonight. I'm going to drink a cup of tea, drink some lemon, I think it's lemon and honey, and try to get my voice right because I can really tell it's really beginning to hurt even more. And I've got a lot of teaching to do this week. So please, ladies, get out of your own way. Know that God has called you and you've got to step into it. And one of the things that we're going to be doing in the inner circle is to cultivate the call. Cultivate the call of God on your life. I'm so excited about the direction that God is taking the inner circle. When I listen to the ladies in the inner circle, it is amazing. It is so amazing. All right. One of the things that the ladies in the inner circle told me is that to be in the inner circle, you need to have a little bit of teaching for impact. So the inner circle only gets opened up to you all that are in this group. Right now, I'm not opening it up to anyone else. But once it gets full, and you have to wait till the next round. All right? So, again, I'm excited. My husband bought me this real cool fan, y'all. Don't tell him, but it's cold in here. This thing is like an air conditioner for this room. It's so cold. It's got me sniffing. I think that may be kind of making my throat sore too. But I ain't going to complain about it because my husband bought me this fan. So I love it. I love it. But, ladies, you all have a fantastic week. Remember, get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. Look at these 7 things and ask yourself, are these 7 things that I described tonight, are any of them in your life such that you can't do what God has called you to do? You ladies are wonderful. I thank you for the opportunity to come tonight to be with you. I thank you ladies for being on here. It is such a blessing. It is such a blessing. I know that the summer months you could be on vacation, or some of you may even be on vacation right now, but you're still tuned in. And I do appreciate it and do thank you for it. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next week. Mwah. Bye-bye.